everyone. So, in this video, we would like to explain about understand and review linguistic, social linguistic, communicative, cognitive, affective, psychomotor, and spiritual abilities related to discourse analysis.
Okay, discourse analysis involves both linguistic and sociolinguistic dimension as it examines language used in social context. And here is a breakdown of how linguistic and sociolinguistic aspects are integrated into discourse analysis. The first, we have linguistic aspects in discourse analysis. First aspect is lexis and semantics. Discourse analysis examines the connection of words or lexis and their meanings or semantics within a given text or conversation, and it explores how specific terms contribute to the overall meaning and interpretation of the discourse. Second, we have syntax. The study of sentence structure and syntax help discourse analysts understand how language is organized in larger units. Sentence construction, word order, and grammatical structures all play a role in conveying meaning. The third aspect is pragmatics. Pragmatics is crucial in discourse analysis as it deals with the study of language use in context. It explores how context influences the interpretation of meaning, including the use of deixis, for example, pronouns, and speech acts, for example, requests or comments. And fourth, discourse markers. These are words or phrases that help organize and structure discourse. Discourse analysts pay attention to markers like however, therefore, and moreover to understand the connection between different parts of text or conversation. Next, we have metaphor and figurative language. Discourse analysis often consider metaphorical expression and figurative language. Metaphors can reveal underlying conceptual frameworks and influence how information is understood. And last, we have transitivity and voice. The analysis of transitivity, how action and processes are represented, and voice, active or passive construction, provides insight into how agency and responsibility are attributed with discourse. Next, we have sociolinguistic aspect in discourse analysis. The first aspect is social identity. Discourse analysis examines how language contributes to the construction and negotiation of social identities. It considers how speakers position themselves and others based on factors such as gender, ethnicity, class, and moreover. And second, we have power and solidarity. Sociolinguistic perspective within discourse analysis focus on power dynamics and solidarity in communication, and it explores how language is used to establish authority, negotiate power relation, or express solidarity with particular social groups. And the third is variation and code switching. Sociolinguistics analysis look at linguistic variation within discourse, including regional dialects, sociolects, and individual speech patterns. Code switching, the alternation between different languages or varieties, is also a key area of interest. And the next, we have speech communities and networks. Discourse analysts explore how language is used within specific speech communities and social networks. These communities may share particular linguistic norms, jargon, or communicative styles. And the fifth is politeness strategies. Sociolinguistic in discourse analysis includes the examination of politeness strategies. It looks how speakers use language to convey politeness, respect, or to assert dominance in interaction. And the last We have social context and setting. The broader social context, including cultural norms and institutional setting, is considered in sociolinguistic discourse analysis. The same linguistic expression may have different social implications in varying contexts. So, the integration of linguistic and sociolinguistic perspectives allows discourse analysts to explore the intricate relationship between language and society, shedding light on how communication shapes and reflects social realities. Okay, that's all from me, and next material will be presented by my friends. Thank you.
Alright, so here I want to continue the explanation about communicative aspects in discourse analysis. So the communicative aspects in discourse analysis refer to the elements and features of language use that contribute to effective communication within a given context. It involves examining how language functions as a tool for conveying meaning, fostering understanding, and achieving communicative goals. And the main purpose of examining communicative aspects in discourse analysis is to understand how language features as a tool for effective communication within specific contexts. The analysis of communicative aspect aim to uncover the intricacies of how speakers or writers use language to convey meaning or navigate the social interactions. Okay, and there are several key aspects of communicative dimensions in discourse analysis. The first one is speech acts. Speech acts refer to the action performed through language. For example, saying "I promise" constitutes a speech act where the speaker commits to a future action. Discourse analysis looks how various speech acts are used in communication and how they contribute to the overall meaning of discourse. And then the second is context and pragmatics. Contextualization means that the meaning of the utterance is often highly dependent on the context in which they occur. Discourse analysis considers how participants in communication establish and share contextual information to ensure mutual understanding. And then for the pragmatic, these are the linguistic elements that indicate the speaker's attitude, such as intensive fears or politeness makers. Analyzing pragmatics helps uncover the implied meanings and intention behind words. And then the third aspect is reference and inferences. Reference in discourse analysis examines how language refers to entities in the world. This includes the use of pronouns, definite and indefinite articles, or demonstratives to establish and maintain the reference. And then for inference, means when the participants in communication often make inferences based on the available information. Discourse analysts investigate how speakers guide these inferences and how listeners or readers interpret the implied meanings. And then the fourth aspect is coherence and cohesion. Achieving coherence involves organizing ideas in a way that makes sense to the audience. Discourse analysts explore how speakers maintain coherence through the logical development of topics and themes. Discourse cohesion is maintained through the use of linguistic devices that connect sentences and paragraphs, pronouns, conjunctions, and lexical cohesions. And then the fifth is about genre and register. Different types of discourse have distinct conventions, structures, and purposes. Discourse analysis investigates how a language is shaped by genres, whether it's a formal language of academic paper or the informal language of casual conversations. Meanwhile, for the register, the variation in register, including formality and style, is examined in relation to the communicative goals of the discourse. Different registers are appropriate for different contexts and audiences. And then the next point is about feedback and repair. Feedback means that when communication is an interactive process, the feedback mechanism helps ensure that messages are understood. Discourse analysts study how participants provide and interpret feedback signals, such as facial expressions or verbal acknowledgements. And then for the repair strategies, when there are misunderstandings or communication breakdowns, speakers may employ repair strategies to clarify or correct their message. This can include repetitions, paraphrasing, or explicit clarification. And then the next aspect is about turn taking and interactions. In spoken discourse, participants take turns to speak. Discourse analyst examines the organizations of turns, including how participants signals the end of their turn and initiate a new one. And for the interactions dynamics, the politeness strategies, conversational implications, and other interactional features also contribute to the management of social relationship within the communications. And then the last one is about multimodality. Multimodal discourse. In addition to verbal language, communication often involves visual, gestural, and other nonverbal elements. Discourse analysts explore how these modalities work together to convey meaning and enhance the overall communication effect. Well, the communicative dimensions in discourse analysis is concerned with unraveling the intricate ways in which language is employed as a tool for effective communications, considering both linguistic features and social dynamics that shapes interactions. It's about understanding how speakers or writers achieve their communicative goals and how meaning is negotiated within various contexts.
Alright everyone, my name is Dorayanti. Now I'm going to continue the explanation. Cognitive discourse analysis, or CODA, is an approach that examines how language reflects and shapes cognitive processes such as perception, memory, reasoning, and attention within discourse. It focuses on understanding how these cognitive aspects influence language use and interpretation in communication. And there are several key aspects within cognitive discourse analysis that shed light on how cognitive is reflected in discourse. First, cognitive representation. This aspect explores how mental representations of concepts, events, and knowledge influence language used. For example, in a conversation about a vacation, the mental representations of specific locations, experience, or feelings are encoded in language. And another example of these aspects in action is in a conversation about a book, the language used to describe the characters, setting, and events reflects the mental representations formed by the speakers. The next aspect is cognitive processes. Cognitive discourse analysis examines the cognitive processes involved in producing and comprehending discourse, such as attention, memory, interference, and problem solving. For instance, when interpreting a complex sentence, listeners or readers use cognitive processes to infer the intended meaning based on contextual cues. And the third aspect is cognitive structures. These aspects involve the organization and structures of cognitive elements in discourse, including how information is arranged and interconnected. For instance, in a narrative, the structure of events, their causal relationship, and how they are presented influence the cognitive understanding of the story. And another example of these aspects in action is in a debate, the way arguments are structured and connected influence how listeners comprehend and evaluate the information presented. And the next aspect is cognitive schemata. Cognitive discourse analysis looks at how cognitive schemata influence language comprehension. And people rely on schemata to interpret and make sense of information. For example, when discussing a typical day, Individuals draw upon their mental schemata of daily routines to understand and produce a language about the topic. And the last aspect is metacognition. And this involves awareness and control of one's cognitive processes while engaging in discourse. People might explicitly reflect on their own thinking processes, monitor comprehension, and adjust communication accordingly. Well, understanding these aspects within cognitive discourse analysis provides insight into how cognitions influence language use and interpretation in various communication contexts. Let's move to the next topic. It's about affective discourse analysis. Affective discourse analysis is a method used to study language and communication with a focus on emotions, sentiments, and attitudes conveyed within discourse. It involves examining how language influences emotions, as well as how emotions influence language in various contexts. And here are the aspects of affective discourse analysis. First, emotions in discourse. It is identifying and analyzing specific emotions expressed in language. This aspect involves recognizing emotional cues such as joy, anger, fear, sadness, and etc. Also understanding how they manifest in communication. For example, analyzing a political speech to identify the emotions conveyed by the speaker to evoke a particular response from the audience. The next aspect is rhetorical strategies. Investigating how emotions are strategically used to persuade or influence. This involves studying the deliberate use of emotions language, rhetorical device, or persuasive technique to sway opinions, elicit empathy, or trigger specific responses. For example, analyzing an advertisement's language to understand how it appeals to emotions. For example, happiness, desire, fear, to persuade consumers to buy a product. The next aspect is contextual and cultural influence. Considering how emotions are influenced by cultural and contextual factors. Understanding that emotional expressions and interpretation can vary based on cultural norms, societal values, and situational contexts. For example, studying how different cultures express and interpret grief of joy in various contexts, ceremonies, or rituals. And the next aspect is sentiment analysis. Using computational tools to analyze and quantify emotions in large datasets. Utilizing natural language processing and machine learning algorithms to automatically detect and analyze sentiments expressed in text. For example, employing sentiments analysis tools to evaluate customer review or social media comments to gauge public sentiment towards a product, service, or event. The next aspect is power dynamic and emotions. Investigating how emotions relate to power dynamic in discourse, examining how emotions can be used to assert dominance, control narratives, or reinforce hierarchies in communication settings. For example, studying the emotional responsive of participants in a negotiation process to identify power imbalances and their impact on the outcome. And the last aspect is emotional intelligence and discourse. Exploring the role of emotional intelligence in communication. Understanding how individuals' ability to perceive, understand, and manage emotions influence their language use and interaction. Example, analyzing how leaders' emotional intelligence affect their communication styles and their ability to motivate or inspire their followers. So, effective discourse analysis involves a multifaceted examination of emotions within communication, encompassing linguistic, psychological, cultural, and social dimensions to understand how emotions are conveyed, interpreted, and utilized in discourse.
Discourse analysis is a broad field that encompasses various aspects of human communication. Psychomotor and spiritual abilities are two such aspects that can be studied using discourse analysis. Psychomotor skills involves the coordinations of mind and body that influence the how people express themselves physically during discourse. This can manifest through gestures, facial expression, and body language that provide the insights into nonverbal communication dynamics. In the context of discourse analysis, psychomotor abilities can be studied by analyzing the use of body language, gestures, and physical expression in communication. For example, the speaker's hand gestures or expression can convey emotions or emphasize certain point in their speech. In this case, analyzing gestures and body language provide insights into unspoken aspects of discourse. Therefore, the nuance of the expression can convey emotion, intention, and direction that contribute significantly to the overall message. Understanding how individuals navigate physical space during the discourse can enhance our understanding of their communication style. For example, the use of gesture of thumb up that often considered positive in Western cultures that might convey a different meaning in other part of the world. Analyzing such a cultural variations provide insight into the cross-cultural communication. In addition, micro expression like a fleeting frown or the quick smile can betray underlying emotions that may contrast with the spoken words. Discourse analysis can uncover this clue, offering a more nuanced understanding of a person's feeling. On the other hand, spiritual abilities. It refers to the ability to connect with one's inner self and divine. In the context of the discourse analysis, spiritual abilities can be studied by analyzing the use of metaphors, symbols, and other linguistic devices that can convey the spiritual or religion meaning. For example, the speaker's use of metaphors related to the light or darkness can convey spiritual or religion meaning. In terms of the metaphor and symbolism, spiritual discourse often involves the use of the metaphors and symbols, requiring a nuanced analysis to unveil underlying the meaning. For example, the use of the metaphors of light in religion discourse, it can be represent hope, purity, divinity, while the metaphors of the darkness can represent despair, sin, and evil. Similarly, the use of the symbols such as the cross or star can represent different religion beliefs and values. Furthermore, based on the cultural and religion context is key. The examining of how the cultural and religious background influence language choices that enhance our understanding of the spiritual communication.